Hi everyone, it's Gia. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome to my channel. On this channel we talk about things like minimalism, frugal living, saving money, budgeting, things of that nature, and just some random stuff sometimes I just want to talk about. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe. It helps my channel out a lot. I apologise I've not uploaded in quite a while, but today I thought I would talk about money saving tips, and specifically things that add up over time, the small things, because we all know the big expenses like rent, groceries, electricity, things like that, and we all know that that takes quite a lot of our income. But sometimes we forget that it's also the small things that add up quite quickly as well, because we have a lot of smaller expenses that we may not always realise accrue surprisingly quickly. So here is a list of 10 things that you can consider cutting out, cutting down on, or even just being aware of them. We also need to realise our wants versus our needs. So our needs are obviously things like shelter, food, transport to get to and from places, and then there are other things that are our wants, which may not be essential, but there are things, that make our lives a little bit more enjoyable, which is good. It is good to have things, obviously, that make life more pleasant and more simpler and more easier for us, but sometimes we can get a little bit overindulgent in those things and we live beyond our means, and that's how debt accrues, and that's how we can't save money and we can't get ahead in life. So here are some things. Some of them are pretty obvious, some of them are a little bit, random, but 10 things that you can consider saving money on. So the first thing is for my women here, with makeup. I obviously quite enjoy makeup. It's something that I like doing. I have a relatively small collection of makeup, so I've culled quite a bit over the years. I used to have way more things, and now I'm just like, do I really need this? Like, I'll really consider a makeup purchase before I buy it, and I will spend a little bit more money on the things that I feel are more essential for me, and then less money on the things that are, not quite as important to me. I'll spend a bit more money on base things like foundations, but when it comes to things like eyeshadows, concealers, stuff like that, I'll spend less on those, just because those to me aren't the essentials. Same with stuff like lipsticks and lip glosses. But you can also be creative with your makeup, because makeup companies like to say you need this product and this product and this product to do this whole look, right? When you can basically interchange a whole bunch of different makeup products and use them quite, in a versatile way. So stuff like contour and highlighter and stuff, you can literally just use like a dark, like a brown toned eyeshadow and contour your face. And even, with highlighter, a light toned eyeshadow. It's like literally a very similar product and it does the same job. So yeah, you can interchange your makeup products and just really consider before you buy something. Same like blushes and stuff like that. If you have like an eyeshadow that's like a pink or a red or whatever colour you want to use, you don't necessarily need to buy the product that they're saying you need to buy. You can interchange different products and you will save money doing that, depending on how much or how little makeup you like to wear. Something else that can accrue quite quickly is quite an obvious one: coffees and takeaway. And lunch out and dinners out and stuff like this. This is something that I've found, for me anyway, when I decide to go out and buy coffees. That to me is like a little treat. I'll do that a couple of times a week. I'll buy like a $5 coffee, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And that to me, like, I still consider that to be a relatively high expense because it's quite a frequent one. But I will also make most of my coffees at home. I will buy a kilo of coffee, and when it's on special, when Coles and Woolies do specials, I will buy the half price kilo bag of coffee for like $20. I like to treat myself, but you can totally make delicious coffee at home and you can tailor it to exactly the way you want it, and you do save money. But I do understand it is fun and it is nice to treat yourself to like a coffee out and about every now and again. Same with lunches out and stuff like that. If you are in an office, you're working or anything like that, it can be very tempting to just go off on your lunch break, buy yourself something from a shop and, eat that. But if you're working 5 days a week, times, I don't know, a $10 lunch, a $15 lunch, what does that equal out to? That's over $50 every single week. You can just make stuff at home, take it with you. You can meal prep on your Sundays, your Saturdays, maybe you've got like free time and you can have lunches lined up for your work days. Another one is transport. Now that's not necessarily a small expense by any means, but it can be. So if you have a car and you're driving everywhere, of course that adds up so quickly. For me personally, I've only just decided to go and rebook and start learning to drive again, because for good over 10 years I've been taking public transport, because to me that's just been more convenient in a strange way. Like, I've saved so much money over the years by not driving, but now I'm at a time in my life where I am probably going to need to require having a car, just because of where I would like to be living in the next few years and just life circumstances that have changed. So I still, at the moment, I do bus most places because, it's like less than $2 a fare for me to get where I need to go, and that to me is remarkably cheap. So I can spend I think I've spent maybe $80 this entire year on bus fares, and we're already in like nearly July. So, and I say that to people who are driving, they're just like, well, that just fills up like a tank of petrol for them, and they're just like, oh. But at the same time, they're also paying for the convenience of being able to get from wherever they need to be to wherever they need to go. So that's the trade-off. So really consider what you can make do with public transport. And maybe that's trains where you are, buses, that sort of a thing. I wouldn't necessarily recommend taxis and Ubers, just because those are very expensive if you can avoid them. But of course, if you're choosing not to have a car and you do need to get somewhere, which, maybe may not be on a bus route, then of course. Every now and again I think that's fine, but buses are a way, way cheaper alternative to Ubers and taxis. Same with bicycles, if that's an option for you and that's something you're interested in, that's obviously a very cheap way of getting where you need to go. A little bit inconvenient for some, depending on where you live, but really consider your transport options. If you can live in a place which doesn't require you to own a car or a situation or something, then that is going to save you so much money. I've got to say, I am not looking forward to having to pay all of these car expenses now that I'm relearning to drive, because but it's been a good over decade of me busing most places, and I've saved a fortune doing that over time, so definitely consider something like that if you can. Subscriptions. Now, this drives me nuts, because it used to be you'd purchase something and you just have that thing, right? Whereas now we live in such a subscription-based culture where it's like every single thing, your Netflix, your food delivery, your gym membership, like all these things come with a subscription, and it's like you're tied into this contract, but it's everything now. It's not like a once-off like it used to be. It's just everything is now becoming subscription-based. And I think that's a bit of a problem, because people have so many subscriptions and they add up and they forget what they've subscribed to, and they forget like multiple streaming services, for example. Like you could have Netflix, Binge, Stan, like all these things, and you're paying like what, $10, $15 per subscription. Spotify, like God, there's so much more. I personally do not have any subscriptions, just because to me they're not worth it. If you can avoid subscriptions, or at least cut down on them where you can. Like, that will save so much money because that adds up so fast. Really tailor and think about the subscriptions you actually really want and that are like adding value to your life, versus just having them around in case there might be some show you might want to watch, or just kind of keep it around to watch something that you really want to watch, and then just unsubscribe and don't get it back unless there's something else you really want to watch. Like, be intentional about the things you are consuming and the subscriptions that you are buying over and over again, because this is one of those costs that people will look at in their bank account every single month coming out, and they'll just go, oh, I had no idea that's where my money was going, because it's a really sneaky one, and so much is subscription based now. Power. This is, again, not necessarily a small one, but it can be a lot cheaper. It's quite an obvious one too, but like more blankets, warmer clothes depending on the climate you're living in. It's the middle of winter here in Australia and it is cold. So I try not to have my heaters on as little as possible. I'll try to have them on just if it's absolutely freezing. And I live in a really cold house that gets hardly any sun, but at the same time I'm also like, well, I'll go buy like some like $15 blankets from Kmart or something, layer those on my bed so I don't feel like I need to have the heater on all the time, only if it's like, like a -2-degree morning or something, and then I'll just pop that on for like 10 minutes, take the chill off the air. So just be smart about how you dress in the climate that you're in. Warm socks in winter, just layering up or layering down, I guess, if it's hot. Pretty obvious stuff. Uber Eats. Again, this kind of ties into the whole eating out sort of a thing, but the amount of people every single week who will just get Uber Eats every day, every couple of days, and holy crap, it is so expensive. Like, you can just blow through your money so quickly on any food delivery app, not just Uber Eats. And I know it's convenient. I know it's super convenient. You don't have to cook anything. If any of you are time poor, then of course I can understand why this is an appealing option. But really, I would suggest just thinking ahead, planning ahead a bit better, meal prepping large batches of things that you can freeze, take out of the freezer as needed, and just have readily available meals. And it will be so much cheaper. Look at things like stews, soups, casseroles, things that you can batch cook that make multiple meals. And then, freeze them. You can take them for lunches, have them for dinners, and you won't have to worry. Just a couple of minutes in the microwave and you got yourself a hot meal. Another small-ish cost that adds up over time is stuff like, particularly for us women, pampering, so like hair, nails, those sort of things. I used to cut, when my hair was shorter, it's relatively long now, but when it was shorter I would cut it myself all the time. I'd get the clippers, I'd get the scissors, and I'd just, for years, I'd dye it myself, I'd bleach it myself. It's only been in the last year that I've been going, because my hair's longer and I don't necessarily know how to cut longer hair, how I want it, because I've got naturally pretty curly hair and it doesn't sit right if I do it myself. So I could just learn that, I could, but for me, I'll try to minimise the cost when I go to hairdressers now by going only once or twice a year max. And even that, for me, I'm just like, ooh. But to me, that's like a little yearly or twice yearly treat. So that's something that I can budget for and I can put into my, something I can prepare to pay for and that I would like to invest in. So I think it is good to invest in yourself and invest in what makes you feel good, as long as you're smart about it. Same with like nails and all those other things. I personally don't get them done, but I know a lot of women love having their nails done. But if you can like even learn to do it at home yourself, like, just have some fun with it, get some cheaper supplies and just see what you can do. I technically could try to relearn how to cut and dye my own hair now it's longer, but to me that's a cost where I'm not too upset to pay a professional to do it, just because it is an infrequent expense. I'm not going every couple of weeks to get touch-ups or anything like that. So if you can cut your own hair at home and dye it or bleach it or whatever you need to do, definitely do that. But if you do just want to treat yourself a couple of times a year, then yeah, absolutely budget for it and just, yeah, give yourself a little bit of a pamper. Op shopping. Now this is my weakness. This to me is... I love a good op shop. I love going in. I love having a browse. I don't actually buy as much as I think I'm going to when I go in, but I still buy more than I need, I think, because I still have to go through my cupboards and go through my closets a couple of times a year and cull, because it accumulates really quickly. So I'm like, oh, I might use that, or I might need that, and that's like, you know, $3 or $4 or something like that. Like, that's nothing. But if you are going op shopping frequently and you are buying something every single time, like, that will add up. Same with online shopping. I like to online shop secondhand clothes on like Depop and eBay and that sort of a thing. But now, rather than just buying something because it's cheap online and going, okay, I might wear that, I'm now investing in like secondhand quality pieces that I would like to last me like a long time. Like this, for example, this literally came in today. This is the genuine leather jacket. Fits me perfectly. I absolutely love it. Looked up the brand online. It's a $700 new leather jacket. I got it for $40 on Depop, brand new. So that to me is an investment, because this is going to last me a long time. I love it. It was a risk taking the risk of buying online, because you don't know how it's going to fit, but I lucked out this time and this fits brilliantly. So if you are going to buy secondhand, really think about what it is you actually want and like need and feel like you are going to wear over and over again, because the price per wear will go down based on that reasoning. Whereas like if you're just buying multiple small things over time and you just kind of, you know, you'll forget about them and they're not really high quality and they're not your favourite, but they were cheap, those will end up in landfill eventually. It always happens. You go through your cupboard and you'll just chuck out something you've just bought because it was on sale or it was cheap or it was secondhand. So I think even keeping like a list of things that you really would like and, you know, you've thought about rather than impulse buying straight away is a good way of doing it, because then you know exactly what it is you are after and you can then curate how you want your wardrobe to look, and you've already got some idea of the pieces that you would really, really like and you feel like you are going to really value and wear over and over again. So that's my advice for that. Frequent grocery shopping. I know so many people who every day they'll be like, oh, I need this, and they go to the grocery shop. Oh, I need this, I'll go to the groceries. Rather than planning out a weekly shop, so they'll just kind of buy on impulse of like what they're feeling like in that given moment, rather than I'm going to curate this list of things that I need over the week, and if I run out of these things, I've got other stuff in my pantry that I can make do with until the next week rolls around and I will re-shop. Because everything's so convenient now, so we don't really have to use our creativity as much. So, you know, if you haven't got a certain ingredient for a certain meal, you can just rush off to the shop, buy that, rather than looking what you actually already have. Like, shop your own pantry and just see what's been sitting in the back of the cupboard for a while. What could you substitute this with? I find that planning your groceries and planning the frequency of how often you go will save you a lot of money. I like to shop online because I can see exactly how much it's going to cost me, rather than going directly into the supermarket, grabbing whatever and then just being surprised when it's all like being paid for, basically. So I already know online I can calculate, I can remove things, add things, and really think about it over the week. Do I really want that? You know, and I'll make sure it's like once a week that I'll do groceries rather than multiple times throughout the week. So if you can limit how much you are going and how much you are spending every time, you will find that that big cost of groceries will start to go down if you are more intentional about how you are buying your groceries and how frequently you're buying them. Now, the last one I have on my list here is a bit of a controversial one: alcohol. Now, alcohol is, at least where I am in Australia, alcohol has gone through the absolute roof in terms of pricing. It is insane how much it's gone up. And there's no benefit to drinking. It's, Australian culture is very alcohol heavy. It's very, this is just what you do. You get drunk on the weekend, you get on the piss with your friends, and you just, you're hungover, on the Sunday, and then you go to work feeling not too great on the Monday, and this is just a rinse and repeat cycle that a lot of Australia does, especially. I know all the different countries do different, similar things, but Australia in particular is so alcohol heavy, it's not even funny. But when I cut out alcohol last year, the savings that I have accrued from just not buying booze is insane. Used to be maybe I'd spend, I'm trying to think how much alcohol was. For a litre of whiskey or gin or something like that, I could be spending maybe $70 or $80 on a bottle of that. I wouldn't necessarily go through it in a week, but that would, a couple of weeks or something. So I'm trying to think how much that would actually be. Plus going out on the town, going clubbing, buying drinks out and about, and that's expensive because then, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drinks later, you can easily have spent several $100s and you don't even remember the night. It's looking back, how much money I've spent over the years on alcohol and for what reason. Sorry, it's a little bit of a hot topic for me, but something to really consider if you really want to save money, decrease your spending. Really consider cutting out alcohol, or at least minimizing it in some way, just because it is such a high expense for no real benefit. So something to just consider. Yeah, sorry if this was a bit rambly, but that was 10 different points of things that do add up over time and you can consider minimizing or at least rethinking in some way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!